Guys of Reddit, what instantly makes you lose respect for other men? Story 1. After playing an all-night session of card games in a pub, I walked back to a guy who was giving me a lift home, and we got to chatting. He mentioned his girlfriend and that he was only with her until he met someone better. He introduced me to his girlfriend when we got to his place, and she was charming. She was friendly and thoughtful, and I had no respect for the guy for being such a douche. Story 2. I remember one time I was hanging out with my best friend and did this without thinking about it. He rolled with it, and I got the girl's number. But after we left, he pulled me aside and told me that if I ever did it again, he'd punch me square in the jaw. So I never did it again. Story 3. I caught up with a high school friend one day for about 3 minutes before he bragged about beating his girlfriend and punching his sister before his sister was able to pepper spray him. He was arrested, released 2 days later, and arrested 5 hours later for DUI. He was re-released the next morning and back in jail before the end of the day for threatening to kill his ex-girlfriend. Yeah, I don't want someone like that near me or my wife and daughter. Story 4. I hear my wife tell me that I did it without even realizing it. I try to be relatable when someone tells a story and add in something I've experienced to try add to the conversations. But I think it comes off as the whole, well, you think that's cool, huh? I don't mean to do it, but I can't keep the conversation alive without adding something. It makes me feel like a dickhead. Story 5. We were all drinking and having a good time. The guys were ribbing each other a little, all in good humor. One guy jokingly insinuates that another guy must have a small dick because he drove a big Dodge pickup. The Dodge pickup guy goes, I don't know if I'm the one with the small dick. We all know Jenna, his very recent ex, cheated on you because you could never get it up. It was like all the air was sucked out of the room and the rest of the night was uncomfortable. Of course, it's always that one asshole who takes it too far. Story 6. A literal inability to shrug anything off. I've met some dudes who would not take anything from anybody and always had to have the last word. A secure man doesn't have to assert himself and have the previous goddamn word at every fucking point in his life. He is comfortable in his opinion and knowledge of things and accepts some things he does not know. Lacking these traits is a mark of insecurity, and while I wish the best for insecure men, if they manifest it like that, I can only lose respect for them. Story 7. Playing pool one night with my buds, a random guy was leaning on our table with his fingers over the edge of the table. I was lining up a shot, but didn't want to hit his fingers, so I politely told him his fingers were about to get hit by a ball. The guy lost his shit and made a huge scene. Yeah, that kind of shit. Story 8. I work at a bar that has pool tables. I'm the guy who has to vacuum liquids off the pool tables, so I always make sure it doesn't happen by politely asking these guys to take their drinks off the table. They always act like I'm killing the fun. College kids especially. The number of frat kids who give me the condescending, oh, guys, get your drinks off the pool table, that's against the rules. They always put it back after you leave, and sometimes, most of the time, it spills. I love the look on their faces when they get their tab, including the $100 cleaning fee posted on every wall by the pool tables. Story 9. Our superstar college safety has knocked 5 dudes out of games with broken ribs from striking them, and is a state champion wrestler. The dude loves to play League of Legends, and that one settles board game. I'm glad I'm not in high school where people attempt to equate interests with masculinity. Story 10. The one guy I know who is into Pathfinder, Dungeons & Dragons, is also the most G'd up guy I know. He was the star running back for his college football team and super popular among everyone in my town. Super nice guy and not someone I'd want to chuck mitts with. Story 11. And only one guy heard it and laughed. But then he acted like he didn't listen to it and asked me what I said, so I retold it, and everyone laughed, including him again. Of course, we were already friends, but that was a big plus. Story 12. My uncle did this shit when he was the one that insisted my aunt stays at home in the first place. She wanted to continue working as a lawyer, but she and my uncle agreed. But that asshole complains that she gets to stay home, relax, and spend his money while he works. She's 24/7 looking after my cousin. So much so that his psychologist intervened and asked his dad to step up. Story 13. I was a groomsman at a buddy's wedding and first met the other guys at the bachelor party. The first 10 minutes, I met one dude in particular who wouldn't stop talking about girls he'd hooked up with. It didn't matter how long. His first line was, Yo man, I remember you from high school, right? Do you remember Kayla from science? I fucked her. At this point, it was about 15 years since we graduated high school. He also had to continue to tell us how many fights he had won and how he could fuck anyone up. Story 14. When I first met someone, and as soon as they engage in small talk, they try to bond over how stupid they think women are or complain about a broad group of people they don't like. It's usually older men, but I've met some people my age that do it too. I wonder if they think they're being pleasant or what. I'm sure we can find other things to talk about than you talking shit about my generation. Story 15. I was an over-the-road truck driver for about 10 years, so the number of times some other driver opened up a conversation with me by being openly racist or bigoted was terrific. And, oh boy, the politics, guys. Story 16. I was in a liquor store. A guy came in around 9:30 a.m. Bet you need to be open this early because of all the members of the ethnic group around here. Need to get their buzz on around the clock. If I wasn't so stunned, I would have pointed out that he was my first customer today. Story 17. This is one of my biggest peeves. I look like a typical athlete/linebacker, so guys tend to come to me as an outlet at parties when they don't know anyone. Coincidentally, I don't mind talking about sports, but the second turn of conversation generally degrades some other group to form that stupid bond you speak of. So, no, I'm not bonding. Story 18. I was over at a good friend's house once with some bros, and he was videotaping without me knowing while we were all shooting the shit. And I said, Sydney was flirting so hard with me in class. He got it on video, uploaded it to Instagram, and I never had respect for him again or for his friends. He also ruined any chance I had with the girl since our building relationship became hella awkward. Fucking annoying when people do that shit. Story 19. I know a few guys like this. One would hook up with a new girl almost every time he came into town and had no problem doing it. Then one day, I found out he had broken up with his girlfriend of 2 years. I asked him why, and he said his girlfriend admitted to him that she had kissed a guy while on vacation. He told me there was no way he could continue dating her because he couldn't trust her. It took every bone in my body not to say to him that he was a fucking hypocrite. Story 20. I've lost a few friends over this. I've been married 20 of my 41 years and don't have any patience for infidelity. There are going to be hard times in marriages, but it's not an excuse. Ever. On the opposite side of the page, I've lost some female friends for assuming the friendship could be more. My long-term commitment and fatherhood might be precisely what you were looking for, but it is what my wife has for a reason. Don't make it weird by wanting more. Story 21. Any guy who immediately throws another guy under the bus conversationally to gain favor with anyone who is not their significant other will always be viewed with suspicion by me. Sometimes it's okay to make a joke at the expense of a woman. They are people too, and don't need you emerging from the shadows clad in your bright white armor to save them from the big bad miscreant making a joke. It just makes me wonder why they are trying so hard. Is it personal to me? Is it intimate with the woman in question? Or are they just into trying to out-nice every other guy at every opportunity? Story 22. When guys try to appear overly burdensome and chastise other guys for not being man enough. How does one quantify man enough? Being secure in your identity is a big part of being a well-rounded gentleman. The social norm that men are supposed to suppress their feelings is incredibly detrimental. This notion implies that guys should suffer in silence is a big reason why men are more likely than women to die by suicide. Story 23. Any that cheat on their significant other. I will and have ended friendships over such. This goes for female friends as well. I don't care what situation you feel you were in. If you do not have the backbone to get out of your relationship before betting with someone else, then I won't complicate my life by being your friend anymore. Whining. Is it okay to complain about something in an adult fashion? And practically any topic would be acceptable. But if you wish to walk through life weeping, I can't stomach being around you.